Well, happy Wednesday. Last week, Chuck was sharing in Luke here. We've been in the parable of the sower, and he was sharing about the roots, right? And how we have to nourish our roots. And then those roots and how we nourish them is by spending time in God's word and in worship and in prayer. And as we nourish those roots, it breaks up that hard soil of life. And so when challenges and trials happen, our roots are strong and that we can find the things that we need in our lives to sustain us through those times. Today, we're going to continue in this story. We're in Luke chapter 8, and I'm going to read verse 7 here first, and we're going to break that down a little. It says, "Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up with it and choked the plants." So I'm going to liken this to springtime. We all get excited about our gardens, right? Those who garden, maybe you don't, maybe you do, but you get excited, right? So you get out there and you start working the soil, right? You've maybe tilled it, but you're getting tired and you don't quite till that one corner because you can still see some dirt. So it's kind of okay, right? We put out the seeds, we expect the plants to grow and they sprout up, right? Because there was enough soil there for them to sprout up. But as they started to grow, also the weeds and the other things that were in that soil from before, because we didn't spend the time tilling it, start to grow up. And they grow up, and sometimes that tomato plant doesn't yield the tomatoes we thought it would, or sometimes it didn't even get to a place where it can yield tomatoes, right? Because the thorns, the weeds grew up around it and choked it out. And that's what God's talking about here. He's talking about this seed that while it fell in a place that it could grow, there was other things there. And sometimes that can be God's word in our own life, right? Sometimes our hearts can be and minds can be a little crowded with the things of this world. And there's nothing wrong with thinking of things of this world, but sometimes it can overcrowd us, right? Our social media feeds that we're continuously scrolling through, our countless number of to-do lists. While none of those things are inherently bad, when they come the number one priority in our life, what ends up happening is it chokes out the growth that God had for us. Because below that, it tells us in 8, it says, "Still other seed fell on good soil. It came up and yielded a crop 100 times more than was sown." And what this is doing, it's telling us that that area that we really didn't want to till because it looks okay, it needs tilling. And the reason why it needs tilling is that we want our seed, the seed that God puts in us, to yield fruit, right? We want it to yield growth. And sometimes we are just distracted. So we need to get in there and we need to push out those distractions. Sometimes that's why people might fast, if you've ever heard of that. They put down something, right? Say, I'm going to put down social media for a time frame. And instead, I'm going to pick up God's word. I'm going to put down the to-do list for 10 minutes and I'm going to worship. I'm going to put down going out tonight with my friends so that I can spend time in prayer. Those activities will till this soil that will help rid it of those thorns. So I want to encourage you, wherever you are in this season, find the thing that might be crowding out the seed and ask God, what can I do to make space? And God will tell you and show you.